he angles it somewhat. Barker-Daish.
Where do I start? It's been up and down.
I remember being a kid.
I can see that happening.
That's always something to do. The Unlaced.
Unlaced podcast. It's actually not bad.
And we are ready to dance. We are live, people. This is a big episode, but before I jump into our guest, I just want to thank all our listeners, all our subscribers out there. I do it at the start of every episode. You guys are the heartbeat of this podcast. Everyone that's been getting around our TikTok lately, which is ironic because this man was a big part of it without him knowing. We really appreciate it. All the social media channels. If you guys are enjoying our content, you already subscribed, please get a friend along, get them to listen to a couple of these cool episodes that we've been doing. It's been a belter of a start to the year. Everyone kind of wants, new guests and new features and little things like that, and I'm all for it. But this man is an exception. This man is a recurring character on this podcast and always will be because of his life. My good friend, Tommy Bugg.
Thank you for having me.
How are you, mate?
Mate, it's good to be back. I really enjoyed our last one.
It was mate. You know how much good feedback we got on that? Like, you just came out with almost like these Tony Robbins type quotes and moments of your life, and everyone was just hitting me up. I'm like, fuck, we got to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, we've had such a special friendship for so long, so it just felt super organic.
It's crazy. I think we spoke of it last time, but if the listeners didn't know, Tommy Bugg obviously played AFL. He didn't go as a draft pick because you kind of went pre-drafted to GWS, which was a loophole back then. But was a superstar playing footy. And I remember the first time I saw him because I was living in Canberra, I came back to watch him play. And back then you still got your thick hair now, but you had an afro with the helmet. And I've spoke about this day where you played against Steve May for Melbourne Grammar and you kicked 4 by half time and everyone's like, Tommy Bugg's gone the AFL. I'm like, well, fuck, he's unbelievable. Then you got in a punch on with Stephen May and you both got sent off or sin bin, which I didn't even know happened in footy.
At school footy you can get, I think, yellow card or red card.
Yeah, I was
the thing that day though, Stephen's a lot bigger than me.
He's huge. He was big then.
He was huge. He was by far bigger than anyone else. But I know my limits. He's a lot bigger, but I tried to antagonize him a little bit, but he basically ragdolled me, threw me on the ground, got up. He got yellow carded. I was smiling. Then I got yellow carded.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I know. So then I think in school footy it's 15 minutes. You got to sit off 4, but I think it was the rest of the game anyway. But
fuck, man. Well, so back then, because we started building a friendship when I was coming back to Melbourne from soccer, where I was living in interstate, and we joined our 18th, and I wanted to talk to you about this because we had Liam Twomey on last episode. I'm not sure if you heard it, but we spoke about candidly. He was so vulnerable, man. I didn't realise he was addicted to ice. It was pretty crazy. Yeah. Crazy to see where he is now as well on top of that. But we were talking about our 18th birthday and I didn't actually remember why all the shit happened. And my interpretation was he was selling drugs in the bathroom. And he goes, nah, mate. I was using it all for myself.
I remember him being pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It was actually funny how the joint 18th happened because I actually didn't know you that well.
No, we didn't. We just took a punt.
Yeah, and I never had a birthday party because of footy, and I never used to drink. Yeah. And then we obviously connected through some school friends, and then we ended up doing the joint 18th. So coming together, we had 2 different separate groups of friends, a couple of mixes, crossovers. But I remember Liam that day. Yeah, he was on another level.
Yeah, he was on.
Maybe your dad wanted to...
Yeah, my dad chased him out. Yeah. There was a few other people, but my dad definitely chased him out. And I was like, fuck, I haven't seen my dad get like that for a while.
Might have to have another birthday party.
Yeah, I know, we'll wind him back up. But then we spoke about it, and because what was amazing is the last I ever saw him was him running off from people chasing him, because of what happened. Apparently he bottled Damo Simic as well, or whatever. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know that. But then one of the things, and I've always been trying to remember it, and I don't know if you sent me a screenshot of his text or if we were together when we got it. I can't remember that. But it was 5 or 6 years later, me and Liam were trying to work it out, where he sent us both this long essay, apologising for his actions and all this shit. I was like, what the I almost forgot about it at this point. I didn't give a shit, obviously, at the time, but I'd forgotten about it. And then we were like, bro, that's what the hell? And then I looked him up, and he's a fucking top 20 para-triathlete in the world.
We saw him the other week at...
which is,
where were we?
Village Bell.
Village Bell, when we were getting dinner. He was there. No, it's good to see. It's really good to see his turnaround, and he's doing some amazing things. So it's it's just amazing from what he was and what he was going through to kind of where he's transitioned to now. It's inspirational.
Well, can you tell me what's been happening with your life? Because since our last podcast, I reckon you've lived overseas for 6 months. Your business has grown tremendously. Your personal life's just everywhere. I mean, you're in regards to you've everyone's best mate. Everyone's you're in every state, living in everyone's houses. I mean, it's unbelievable. I can't keep up.
Yeah, it's a whirlwind, to be honest. It's I mean, America's always kind of been on the cards. And yeah, in reality, I not moved there, but I was, I guess living there for a little bit. 6 months of last year, I spent a little bit of time in the UK as well. It was the first time I could connect with my team. So we've been in the States or in LA based basically since 2020 of Jan. And we had, a big team over there, and I hadn't been able to meet them because of COVID. So it's actually my first time meeting like all our staff, which was
wow. So you'd met them through like Zoom and stuff.
Met them through Zoom, but it's not the same. I guess from what I love that like interpersonal connection and catching up with people, and I think we really lost that around COVID. So it was awesome to go over there. I guess new opportunities, new challenges presented themselves, and it was exciting. I mean, I love sport and I love like fast-paced stuff. So LA is just that in a nutshell. Sport on every day, every different types of sport. And also, meeting our talent and clients is super important as well. I guess as we want to be a really personalised business, it's important to catch up, in person. So spent a lot of time with the clients and talent, and to be honest, it felt like a little bit of a movie, and I was just grateful every day, and had some of the best times I've had in my life.
Is that like the epicenter of your brand? Because for some of the listeners that didn't tune into the first episode, it might be good just to like explain what Sus Group is, because it's it's a very, very modern day business and futuristic business, because it's going to be so important for people and so much growth there. But can you just explain a little bit in summary for the people that don't know what it is?
Yeah. Well, I think, traditionally people will look at us as being probably a talent agency or an agency of some form. I think probably what's more accurate is a technology and data company. And the reason for that is, we use technology, we're technology driven. We use that for automation. And
so that's how you reference it, technology and data.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Well,
dude.
I think, I guess looking at the space before we entered, there wasn't really anyone that was using technology, we thought, efficiently, and also servicing both talent and clients.
So talent to you is influencers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, influencers, athletes, celebrities. Okay. That's how we categorize them. And then from the client side, we'd usually see someone on the talent side with that tech, or on the client side with that tech, and we wanted to position ourselves in the middle where we could service, both sides of the ecosystem. So, yeah, and then also from a data point of view, looking at, because the influence on surface level is, what you see on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, other platforms. But behind that is what the clients, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for demographics, analytics, statistics. And basically from that, we've been working for such a long time now. I think we're nearly at 4 years.
Wow.
And what you can do is collect all that data, and then, it's good for predictions of certain fees or certain services in the future. And basically from that, it's allowed us to scale at such rapid growth.
So you're kind of like the conduit and the support for managing talent, making sure they're happy, but also providing strategy to help them grow their platform, but equally using that technology and data to drive interest from brands to work with your clients.
Yeah, correct. I think there's one part of it with the talent. Obviously, we do represent talent as well, represent clients. So there's two facets of that. I think with the talent side of things, there's the management where it's a 360-degree approach, where not only are we, generating, I guess, opportunities for them from a financial point of view, but just trying to maximize that opportunity, that lifespan that they have in this space, because, there's no real, there's no real time limit on when that. It can end tomorrow. It can last 5 years. No one really knows. So I think just making sure they're making the most of the opportunity they've got, looking at different ways to innovate or, I guess, use their platform to the best ability. And one of those is obviously being on all platforms, and just growing with the times. TikTok wasn't around or prominent 2-3 years ago. So, helping all of our talent, onboard onto TikTok and kind of helping them around some of that strategy.
So you give them like insights on the best ways to use the certain platforms and stuff like that as well?
To an extent. I mean, there's no, they're very guarded, I think, these platforms with what they say, because they're held accountable for it. So they can give, different strategies or different, I guess different strategies around when's the best time to post or, what content's trending. But TikTok's probably the biggest one at the moment. It's crazy algorithm around, what you watch and what your attention is on. It seems to feed that very, very similar content back to you.
Wow, that's amazing, man. We're going to dabble into like a bit more of the business in a sec, but I did want to talk to you. Are you planning personally to relocate to LA, or like what's your sort of plan? Because you're currently based in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, based in Melbourne. It's probably up in the air a little bit. I mean, we've got the US base, obviously, we've got AU base, equally as important. I think I'll spend my time between both.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty, because the reason why I asked that is because you got the Melbourne city on lock. And I'm going to go into it. But I think, like, it's a fair question to know. Like, I think you might be the king of electric. Electric Ladyland, man. I genuinely think you are. And I'm going to talk about this because how many times have I been there with you? Maybe 2 or 3 times. And one time I know you'd appreciate it because I didn't know you were back from the States. And you messaged me at 10 p.m. at night, and I was like, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
You were as well.
I was, mate. I was actually up the road having drinks, but I was like on my way out. So I was like, oh, beautiful. So I went there. And for the listeners, Electric Ladyland, it's the wild, wild west of Melbourne. Like, it's probably one of the only clubs that's blossomed throughout and post-COVID. But I go there, and Tommy Bugg, like, all right, I knew he knew a couple of people there to help me in. But I've seen him walk in and he's had 45 handshakes and 25 kisses on the cheeks before he's even got through the first door. And then they've got the red carpet up the stairs, which is known as the Tommy Bugg carpet in my eyes.
I think you've made that up.
I've put a bit of mayo on this, but it's not too far from the truth. But, mate, I love having you here because it's just so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Electric's a special place. It's shared some special memories with a lot of people. But, yeah, I think it's just good, you know. Like, obviously work so hard and... yeah, I guess for me it's about balance. So, you know, I like to have a good night out, and especially with the people,
you work closest to me. 24/7. Like, you can work 24/7 with your officers. Like, so your respite is different.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like, I'm even on when I'm out. Like,
yeah,
you know, like
that's exactly what I mean.
Emails and stuff and things that are, you know, super high priority. Was it dinner and drinks the other night? Actually, it was 11:30, and I had to take a call.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, I've got perspective around what I used to do versus what I do now. So. For me, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't feel like work. But yeah, I love, you know, obviously love having a good time. Some of my, you know, closest friendships have started from, you know, just being out, or some, you know, some networks that I've made have been from that. So every now and then I try to, you know, stay clear and just really focus in. But I feel like I don't enjoy myself as much. So.
Yeah, me too. The worst month is when I have those sober months. They're my worst months of the year, which is not good.
No, it's definitely over Christmas and summer. It's a little bit more than probably what it should be. But I think everyone's doing that. So
now I want to talk about like LA because you know I love my football. I actually know you love your football club and country, as we say, mate. Like, it's always 100% no matter where you play. But somehow you were in LA, and then I went on my story, and it would have been within 24 hours. You're at a fucking English Premier League game, and you're fucking sitting up. You're at Watford. You're with Bajan and a couple of the boys, and obviously those that don't know Bajan, I won't expose too much. But it's essentially his company is the shirt sponsor of a fucking English Premier League club, which is unbelievable. So when you were going there with him, I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
2 stories in, you're literally on the fucking pitch getting a photo. And I'm like, mate, I have worked my ass off at soccer my whole life, and this guy's got closer to a Premier League pitch than I have.
Yeah, I know. It's ironic, isn't it?
And they played Man U that day. It wasn't like it was a big game.
I saw Cristiano in the flesh. Fuck. It was special. It was a really special trip. Obviously super close to those guys. And yeah, I guess I didn't really know what to expect. We just went to the game. And
was that your first like Premier League game you've been to?
Yeah, first Premier League.
Soccer game even?
Nah, come watch you.
Oh, yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, for 18 people.
Nah, I think there was a few more.
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing experience. Obviously went on the pitch, and yeah, it was just Watford won. They won 4-1.
They smashed them.
Yeah, so I think they were like, you know, Man U were meant to win. They were like,
yeah, Man U. Yeah, that was early in the season, right?
Yeah. I think Man U coach got sacked after that or something.
Oh my God, it was too.
Yeah,
that was a kiss of death. Ole Gunnar went, the next day. Yeah, that's right. I messaged Bajan. I'm like, bro, you got my coach sacked.
I know. So it's like, yeah, I guess it's going to be hard to go back to an EPL game if it's not like that.
Can I ask you just to compare, because I'm interested, because you played at the MCG, you played in front of packed crowds in Australia, and the AFL atmosphere is very unique to any other sport. Like, it's helter-skelter, it's fast-paced, it's high-scoring and stuff, and the crowd's literally, like, involved. But how did it compare to, like, the Premier League atmosphere? Because I remember going to the Premier League when I was a kid, and I was, like, blown away.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I've been to many sports, you know, UFC, basketball, NBA, NFL, and then you've obviously got EPL or soccer in general. It's a lot different experience, it really is. I think the nature of, I guess, the support base and how loud it was, like the Watford supporters or members, like they didn't stop for 90 minutes.
Wow.
And it was and we were like kind of right next to them. So just to see that, like, you know, chanting, singing, all that kind of stuff, it's probably not what happens really at the AFL. Yeah. But yeah, just in terms of just very, very different, but just an amazing experience. So loud. Like, I just remember being like so loud I could barely like hear the guys talk.
Yeah, when they score and stuff, it's like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you about the UFC as well, because I know you went there, but I'm just like, what I think you've always been really good at, and one thing that's notable for a lot of people is obviously you've always been really good with people. So for me, when you came out of footy, like anyone, it's kind of hard at first, but you, from the outside, without actually knowing what was going on in your head, you kind of seemed like you just like were a natural in the space you went into, and almost like you had disassociated and disconnected with AFL like pretty quickly. Is that true? Like, were you able to kind of shift into this world, or was there an element of you like, fuck, I wish I was still playing at all? Or
No, not at all. I mean, it's interesting, one, like good with people, because I think it's something people have said to me a lot as I've grown up, but I think the way, you know, I always, for me, I don't think I know everything. So it's always about learning, and I just get a lot out of, obviously love what I do from a work point of view. I get a lot of, from where my purpose comes from and whatnot as well. So I guess in that sense, like, I just love talking to different people that have, you know, been successful or in what they're doing and kind of learning. And in that sense, when you're showing like genuine intent to learn, it probably comes across, or most likely comes across. So I think in that sense, and, you know, I've grown up with an amazing family and my sisters and whatnot, and they're beautiful people and caring people as well. So I think I've just...
Shout out the Bugg family.
Shout out the Buggs.
Legends.
So yeah, just to be around, I guess, that growing up has helped me. But if I look back on my life as well, I've been around so many different people as well. Like, if you're talking from 6 years old, from basketball to football to all the different teams I've played for, you know, all the coaches, and then obviously from an AFL team, I've been at 3 different clubs, and then, you know, proactively trying to, you know, build relationships and build networks. Yeah. Like, there's so many people that I've met over my time. So you know, definitely when I first started, I could, you know, in terms of having conversations with people and holding conversations, at times it was difficult, especially if, you know, there was a big age gap. But I really feel like now that, you know, I could be put in a room with anyone and kind of find some similarities or...
Yeah. Do you reckon the hard conversations you would have had to have in the AFL helped that, like, at all? Or is it just kind of like, it's kind of just your own...
Those hard conversations usually directed at me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're copping that shit, then it's a bit easier to like conversate with other people, because it's not going to be as grueling as what you went through.
I mean, there was definitely some times I got some
I know.
I think one that really sticks out, being in like high pressure situations, is when I did get suspended. I remember just like, they kind of told me what to say, or not what to say, but they just said, you know, these are some guidelines you should touch on, and then obviously express how you want. And then I remember just walking out the door, and I had like 17 microphones in my face. And like, in terms of public speaking back then, I wasn't super confident. And then I've got cameras and microphones, and I just remember being like in a little bit of shock.
And at this time, right, when this happened, I think you went to the club and said you wanted to like say something, didn't you? Or was that right? Or you got on the mic after the incident happened, you went straight on the mic and did something.
I spoke with Richard
and apologised.
I think that was the best thing to do, to get on the front foot. But yeah, I think maybe I was just a bit delusional at the time, but I genuinely thought walking into that courtroom, that's what you have to do, is pretty much a courtroom. I thought there was a chance I'd get off. Like, not that I didn't think what I did was, you know, right or wrong. It just, I just don't know what I was thinking at the time. I just remember thinking,
it was
maybe
a crazy
there's a
whirlwind, man.
Yeah. So, but that I think that experience as well, and being under such high pressure, and I guess being a little bit of shock. Like, I you know, very frequently like look back at how I, you know, held myself and kind of what thoughts I was, you know, going through at the time, and I always try to look back and learn from mistakes and whatnot. So it's interesting.
Man, interesting. How do you, because I think the last time you came on, the SUS group was already doing really, really well, particularly nationally, but the international setup wasn't as matured as it was. The talent that you've accumulated since then is like scaled unbelievably, but also like staff. So like for you, what's interesting is obviously you were once coached and managed by someone else, and then you've kind of gone into like a senior leadership role, like almost straight away. And I know you've got mentors and stuff like that, but how do you go with like managing people and now on like a larger scale, making sure the operation's moving smoothly, making sure you're getting the best out of everyone?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging at times, because, you know, you obviously, you want high performance, but you want people to enjoy what they do, and you want them to be motivated, you know, and inspired each day. So I think in that sense, like really approaching, you know, each individual as their own, and not kind of grouping up, this is what's expected, like really, you know, having some empathy around their position, not only from a work point of view, but what's going on in their life, and learning about them. So I think for me, it's about building strong relationships with each staff member, and therefore it's easy to have conversations when they're tough. But I've always tried to be as transparent as possible and be understanding in the way I approach it. You know, I can't think of any time I've really yelled at anyone any stuff. Like, I don't think once I've ever done it. So I think in that sense, like really just calculated with my approaches and just making sure that I'm really thinking about it from their point of view as well has definitely helped. But yeah, I guess in a sense of, you know, being at footy, I learned a lot of things that I did like and a lot of things that I didn't like.
Yeah, I was about to say that probably more sometimes what you didn't like as well.
Yeah,
Like that's what I remember most.
Yeah, well, footy's very authoritarian and, you know, it's a little bit old school in that sense. And I guess, you know, with our company and it being so unique and so, you know, it's, I guess, modern in a sense. Like, I really want to be with the times and make sure that, you know, people feel valued for what they're doing.
Yeah. Do you have that similar approach with talent, or is talent a bit differently? Because they're obviously, you're kind of like staff's on your company, yes, but talent you're trying to sort of like invigorate and get the best out of as well at the same time.
Yeah, again, it's very, very case by case. But I just try to offer support as much as possible. You know, the one thing I want the talent always to know is that I'm here for them no matter what. And I think, you know, if you're sending the message around, my first thing is their health and happiness. So to make sure that they're, you know, healthy and they're happy in what they're doing, and everything else comes second. So I think, you know, sometimes in this business, you know, people are very commercially driven, and don't get me wrong, we're definitely always looking at the commercial value or that in that perspective. But I think making sure that the talent really feel valued as a person before any of that gets done is the key for me. So in that sense, you know, always making sure I'm accessible. I always tell them if it's 1 a.m., 5 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever it is, like, don't ever think that you can't call me. And
what a guy.
I mean, I want to help, you know what I mean? I get
you enjoy.
Yeah,
that's
I enjoy it,
that's why it's genuine. It's not like you're putting on a fucking face, which is probably why it's fun for you, the job, because you actually care about what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I think the thing I love about it is it can be so spontaneous at times, so you don't really know what's around the corner, and I think that really keeps me engaged.
There's a story about this recently. I think you went to Sydney, and you're on a fucking boat party, and I'm like, mate, like I think we went out the week before, and I'm like, how the fuck are you on a boat? And you're like, no, it's one of my talent's birthday, and I was like, you're actually working, but like you're on a boat party at the same time, where like you obviously have to be there, be present, support your talent, but then you get like this spontaneity of like, fuck, I'm in the harbour of Sydney, like on a boat. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
What the fuck? It's awesome,
cool.
bro.
It's so cool. It is. It's funny. Like, I don't really think about it like that, and I think what I try to do as well is you know, sometimes really separate that work from that personal relationship, and, you know, going on there and it being a birthday party, really coming across and showing, I guess, from a friendship point of view, rather than, you know, trying to critique anything from a work point of view. Like, I guess the last thing I want to do with a personal situation like that is kind of come across as from a work perspective. So I try to separate that as much as possible, and I think I learned that very early on, that, you know, although from maybe in my world that everything's, you know, a lot of my life's driven by work, that not everyone else is. So just making sure that I'm, you know, understanding what makes people tick. Because some people are super work driven and they love, you know, chatting about work, and other people are like, just tell me what I need to do, and then like, let's not talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, you've been pretty humble about Zuz Group on this podcast, I'm not going to lie, because it is unbelievably booming and it's doing so well, and it's going to only get bigger and bigger. But for me, I'm keen to just kind of get an insight of, like, if you can, like a kind of like a pinch yourself moment, like a moment that when you do this, you're like, holy fuck, this is like, has the potential to be what it's becoming to be. Like, for whether it's partnerships or the brands or even some of the talent you're acquiring, is there some sort of a moment that stands out for you where you're like, wow, this is going exactly where I wanted to go, or it's doing better than what I thought it was?
Yeah.
It's a tough question.
To be honest, I don't really, like, although I'm so grateful, like every day I wake up and I genuinely am happy with what I'm doing. You know, obviously you have challenges along the way, but I try to have the perspective of those challenges, you know, usually end up into a positive in some way, shape or form, depends on how you look at it. Yeah. I think in that sense, you know, I don't really celebrate things too much. However, I think the one moment for me is probably when I'm standing in a box with Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Like, I've
Can
always
we talk about that?
Yeah, for sure.
How the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, one of my
was this the San Diego LA Rams game?
LA Rams.
Sorry?
LA Rams and is that the team? LA.
Because
Rams and who's the LA team?
I
should know this. Wow.
No, it wasn't the Raiders.
No, it wasn't Raiders. It was 2 LA teams, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I don't know.
Hopefully I got that right.
Anyway, either or.
No, it's actually a funny story, because when we first went over there, you know, in this business as well, it's about client experiences. So one thing we did look at was potentially getting a box for the year at the Ram Stadium. And then obviously having our clients come in, our talent come in, and giving that really cool experience because it was pretty much on the field.
So that was a working kind of thing.
Well, no, this was when I first got there. This is the second day I got to LA. So I went into this box and like got the tour and whatnot, and they went through the different tiers of packages and all that, and it was really cool. We didn't end up going ahead with it. However, like 6 weeks later, one of my close friends over there that has he's involved in esports. From him, he's got great relationships. He's lived there for 6-7 years. Conor McGregor actually sits on his advisory board. So he has a little bit to do with him and the Paradigm team. So anyway, funnily enough, he goes, come along to this event later on, or I think it was in a week's time, or might have been in a few days out. He's like, I'd love you to come along. So I was like, sweet.
Did you know what you were going to at this point?
He said Conor was maybe a chance to come, but there was going to be a few other people in there. So we had the chance to see Ben Simmons, Sean O'Malley.
Fuck.
Also there, J.R. Smith. I think the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, they played Dallas, I think, because Dallas Cowboys.
Prescott.
Yeah. Dallas Cowboys owner's son was there, and we got to meet them. It was a really cool experience. Like, again, just going into like, I guess another world of high-profile people, and it was just really cool to see how they operate and hold themselves. And yeah, he just said, there's a chance that Conor will come by. So it was like, sweet. So anyway, I walk into this box, and it's the same box that I did the tour of 2 days in.
No way.
Yes, and there's like, hundreds of boxes around.
What are the chances of that?
I know, it's just crazy. So like that kind of pinched my moment because it's like, I'm into manifestation and whatnot as well. And then obviously, I had the chance to meet Conor, and it was surreal because, I mean, even going back to football, like I used to channel all my focus and energy around how he trained and kind of
this
how
is
he
why
held
I didn't want to like overdo it, but you really like took a lot from him.
Yeah.
Like on our last podcast, we actually spoke about how your like the manifestation tactics or a lot of the things that you were doing in your life, footy, off the field, whatever, was derived from like a lot of what Conor was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like speaking things into existence.
Yeah, of course.
Which is fucking surreal.
I mean, he does it, live at press conferences.
Yeah, that's true. He's quick-witted.
I thought that was maybe a bit too far. But yeah, I did a lot of that stuff. I still do it now. But yeah, there was definitely one patch in there, especially because it was, physical exercise. So I was doing boxing at the time and training and whatnot. So yeah, my whole life revolved around watching him. Like I remember watching like hours of footage of him a day. Yeah. Like even if I was training, I'd have like earpiece in, listen to him talk at press conferences or, behind the scenes stuff when he's training. So it was really cool. And then obviously meeting him and just getting to spend like a short amount of time with him.
What was he like? What was sort of the conversation?
Yeah.
Was it pretty straightforward? Or
yeah, it was pretty. There was a lot of people. Well, we had the suites. We had that suite we were in, and there was basically suites along the pitch. And all of a sudden, when Conor walked in, he had like 3-piece suit, like looking sharp as proper 12 in his hand.
Fuck off.
So that was really cool. But as soon as he came in, like people were jumping from suites into out, like to where we were. Like the security. there was absolutely no. Well, there was security. He had like 4 people with him, but no one really stopped it.
He doesn't need it.
People were jumping in, getting signatures, photos, and whatnot. And I was kind of a little bit reserved at that point, and just in awe, just kind of watching him. Got some cool photos, and then and then he was just about to leave, and I just thought, this is a once in a lifetime. Well, hopefully not, but a really cool opportunity to get a photo. So I approached him and got a quick photo and had a quick chat to him about being from Australia and watching him and asking how his leg was and whatnot as well. But he spent time with every single person in that suite.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
he seems like a really good guy. If you get him on a good day, he seems like he could have a chat with anyone.
Yeah, very engaged too with each person. I noticed that like it wasn't just like a high and by. It was actually like he was super engaged looking at the person and like taking what they were saying. So it was really cool to see.
Fuck man, that is special. Hey,
yeah, it was cool.
You always come back with something different. See, this is why you're a regular guest. Like,
I know, it's funny. I remember going.
He's the highest paid athlete in the world almost.
Yeah,
like, if not the now probably.
I remember going over there and saying to like my close mates that just that I'm going to meet him. I don't know how. But
so correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you told me this or if I've just made this up. But did you go there with the mentality of like, because you asked me this once. You were like, "Who do you want in your show?" And no one's asked me that. It's like, and I was like, I said a couple of people in the show. You're like, no. Like, who do you want?
Yeah.
And I was like, I said Conor. Only because I'm like, that's a fucking podcast. And I said LeBron James, but like, I actually think I would rather talk to Conor because I'm like,
he hasn't done any podcasts.
No, he doesn't really do them.
Yeah.
Like, if Joe Rogan can't get him, I'm a bit of a long shot.
Yeah, but I thought he might have done one with Joe.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's I feel like I don't know why I had that in my head that you kind of put that into existence that you wanted to meet him.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's always. I mean, since the day I kind of saw his first fight or his first interview, I wanted to meet him. But going over there, like specifically, like with the intention that like I don't know how, but it's going to happen, and It happened.
That's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I like just to come off sport or come back to sports a little bit. Like, given your role now as a CEO, managing people, like, there's obviously some correlation to sport. Like, even though it's not physical exercise, there's the competitive nature that you have, and obviously the people aspect and working in big environments and so forth. Do you find any similarities or major differences, for example, translating from professional athlete to CEO? Like, is there anything that's really helped you initially, and then is anything where you're like, fuck, I've actually got to really get better in this space to make myself more whole?
I think, well, the physical exercise.
Yeah,
part of
minus that, obviously. Kicking a Sharon.
I think the competitive nature of it is because you know, from a football club point of view, you're always trying to get the best out of yourself. So it's super like self-competitive. Well, that's how I looked at it anyway. And then day to day, it's a little bit different in like the approach because there's not someone yelling at you every day. So it's really like it's self-driven. But yeah, I think that competitive nature, like I really want to do some really special things that, you know, no one thinks that we can do. And I think in that sense, the competitive nature, I think dealing with people. So like, you know, I guess relationships around me and managing them. They're probably like, they're the biggest things, I think, for me as well. Like, I want to make it unique. I don't want to go in with like the typical, you have to approach the CEO position like this, like the way you dress, the way you speak, all that kind of stuff. Like, I really want to be.
You just wear Yeezy shit and off-white. That's your like CEO.
I just like to be comfortable, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's certain situations where you need to dress nice and look good. But for the majority of the time, you know, I want to do my own thing and approach it differently. And that's why I think, you know, for me, it's always been about like focusing on us and doing what we want to do versus looking too far into what other people are doing and trying to replicate.
Yeah, I think one of your strengths is that you put yourself on like a flat hierarchy in your business, and also you're completely vulnerable to, if you don't know something, you'll educate yourself to learn it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we spoke of last time was you openly will be the first one to say like, I don't know everything, but you're smart enough to surround yourself with people who might be able to help you. Is that still something you're progressing? Like, I know you had a lot of mentors. We spoke at the Ferrari story last time, which went viral, by the way.
It's cool. It's a cool story, really cool.
Yeah. Like, if anyone hasn't heard that, go back and listen to that episode. Tommy saw a guy in a Ferrari and approached him and said, mate, I love your car. What do you do? I'd love to have a chat. And now it's his business mentor.
I know. It's funny because, like, I guess from, you know, a superficial level, it's like, that's a cool car. I want to go, you know,
it's so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
Really.
I think just like kind of the backstory behind it, you know, actually kind of understanding how that person got to where they got.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I take out of it and what I think about, you know, very, very frequently. I think I definitely surround myself with, you know, people that, you know, I can add value to, that they can, you know, offer value. I think in that sense, you know, I've always tried, especially from like, you know, a commercial aspect and a business aspect. But yeah, I think it's always just about learning. And I think with time, you really start to appreciate that, you know, sometimes it just takes time rather than, you know, I want everything now. But
are you good with patience? Is that, like, it's a bit hard. I find with athletes, you kind of want to do stuff now.
I think I'm impatiently patient. Yeah, it's hard. I have to remind myself a lot of the time, and yeah, just understand that it's just a journey. But yeah, in that sense, you know, I'm always like Googling stuff. Like, the amount of times I'm on Google, like Googling things is insane. Yeah. It's probably a bit weird.
CEO 101.
Yeah.
How do you fix it, Google?
Literally, like, I think in that sense, in terms of the, you know, the flat hierarchy, I really want, you know, to empower people in my business. I don't think that the business, you know, revolves around one particular person. I think it revolves around, you know, the entire team. So, you know, if you can empower every single person within the business and they can bring you ideas and we can do it together, you know, we'll get places much faster and we'll grow to, you know, greater
Definitely.
levels.
Now, one thing I actually took from you last time, other than your advice on hurry up and get on TikTok with the podcast, which is actually unbelievable, but it's just the manifestation aspect. And we touched on it with Conor McGregor, but like, I just want to kind of gather, because I actually think it's really beneficial to do it for people. And I don't know if you have any kind of set ways of how you do it, or, you know, any method around or to your madness there. But like, can you give us some insight into maybe like the things you might implement or have implemented in the past that really sort of transitioned into like reality, for example?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking, like just setting aside, I guess, time to actually like, what do I want specifically in different aspects of my life? And then I guess once you understand what you want, then you're thinking about it. And I guess just thinking about it daily as well. I mean, I used to write things down a lot. I still do that. But I mean, because I've done it for such a long time now, I catch myself, it's almost like a meditation. I'll be driving and just thinking about the things that I want.
So that's like almost like as powerful as at this point.
Saying things out loud. People probably think they're weird if they see me in a car driving. I can't like say things out loud.
Yeah.
But I find that helps a lot. But yeah, there's just, I mean, manifestation's a weird one because it doesn't always end up exactly how you imagine. But I just know that with so many different things that I've done along the time, it just, I guess it's in your mind more. So you're more aware of it. You're looking out for it. You're looking out for those opportunities. And in that sense, I think, that's what's kind of held me in good stead, just continually, because, your brain's a computer. So the more you program it,
it's very true.
Better chance that, you're going to run into those types of things. But it's funny we're talking about manifestation because I think the last time we talked about Goody.
Yeah, we did.
Remember I said if I was to see him?
Yeah. Oh, did you see him?
I saw him that day. I swear to God. I didn't go up to him because he was getting in the car when I was leaving. But I basically
I think you called me and told me this maybe.
I was losing my mind. But basically we finished up the podcast and then I walked down the street and I was walking down the street and I saw him get into his car on Turak Road.
What are the chances of that?
I know, it was weird. But
we had a massive conversation about it literally half an hour before.
Because I think I said, if I see him, I'd definitely say
because
no hard feelings.
It would be deemed that there was bad blood. You're like, no, there's no bad blood.
No, not at all.
It's the business, mate. We're all good.
And I mean, with what they've done, it was just...
Yeah.
It was something that's it's funny because back in when I first got to the club, it was... I mean, we're losing games, but I just kept saying to my family and friends, like, we're going to win a premiership, we're going to win a premiership.
Did you feel that back then?
I did. I mean, looking back now, there was definitely some...
Because the talent you had acquired was fucking going to be superstars. Like, even yourself, like the group they had, players drafted, players from other clubs.
The list was amazing. We probably just needed to add a few, like they did.
Pieces.
Add a few players like Langdon, Steve May, a couple of others. Ben Brown. Yeah, like adding... But definitely the feeling with what I saw, and definitely being at like different clubs, I definitely had that feeling. Even though maybe I was delusional, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely had that. I said it to my friends and family. People thought I was probably crazy. And a core group of those players were the ones that played in last year's premiership. And obviously they just tightened things up a little bit. I know speaking to some of the guys that I know really well still, like the training was really intense. And they were all super super committed. So. Yeah, it's just the same win one.
Did you watch the grand final?
Yeah, it was like...
Bro, it was fucking unbelievable. That second half, Bulldogs played really good the first half. Fuck me.
And
they
did. They
played
very
lost
well.
by I don't know how many points they lost by in the end.
Yeah, Bulldogs just have a team where you watch them play and you just love
Bro, I thought Bulldogs were going to win it. They beat Port Adelaide in Adelaide. I don't know if it was a knockout. I think it was a knockout final. I don't think it was a prelim. But I was like, fuck, they're in red hot form. Port Adelaide were like a favourite too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
And then Melbourne just holy shit.
I think they're going to have long-term success as well. I really do. They've just got such strong foundations. Their team's really young. Yeah. Their key players are young, which is a key to obviously winning.
I'll ask you actually maybe a tricky question, but if you were Goody, take away the tactics of footy, knowing you've had huge success, what's sort of your mentality or approach to the playing group to kind of
keep them engaged
and keep them hungry? Because that's we see teams do go back to back, win triple premierships, but a lot of people have a hangover year as well.
It's a hard question.
It's very hard.
Reach out to Alistair Clark. I don't know the answer.
You're free. You see, he's up for hire.
No, I think it's a really tricky one because, it's you never know how the team's going to respond. But I mean, I saw an article the other day around Christian Petrarca being back at training a week later after they won the premiership. So it looks like things are in.
Do you know? So this is funny. He said that, right? And I'm sure someone else has said it, but we had Luke Dunstan on this podcast. I'm guessing, I reckon it was an Unlaced exclusive because we had him on and he goes, we're talking about, because I'm a Saints fan, was talking about the fallout. And then one of the things he said that really drove him to the Demons outside of Goody actually wanting him because he didn't feel wanted at St Kilda was he walked in and it was a week after the boys had got back from the hubs in Perth. And he goes, Petrarca was just throwing these weights around and smashing it. And he was just taken back by that. But then this is what I even love more about Petrarca. He goes, he said in, I think the article you're referencing, he's like, well, I get paid to train.
Yeah.
and get paid to sit back. So,
Yeah.
like he was just like, what the fuck's
It's
everyone?
funny.
Like?
It's maturity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty cool.
If you ask Track that in year 2, I don't know.
Really?
He's
Yeah.
always
It's a bit easier to have a bit of ego once you want a flag, I reckon.
I love Track to death. He's just the best human ever.
Yeah.
Like not only trains hard, but just like has genuine care for the people around him.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, he's a special individual. I think he has a great impact on that group. And yeah, I know that he had a year where he's a little bit down on form, but he just stayed true to kind of who he is and worked really hard. And if you see the kind of success he had last year, it's just amazing.
Do you still watch much footy like now, even sort of because you were so close to it for so long? It must be hard to just erase completely. But
it's hard because I love like UFC and I love like basketball and it's super fast.
Yeah.
I find AFL a little bit slow.
Yeah, do
A little
you?
bit- little bit-
Wow.
Not slow. I mean, there's definitely fast moments, but I think in terms of like, you've got the breaks that go so long, you've got half time. It does go for a while, but I mean, I'm definitely still interested in all the teams that I was associated with. You got Giants, Melbourne, obviously Carlton for a short stint as well, and got some really good friends. So yeah, I love watching the players that I know play still. But if you're putting on a couple of teams like North Melbourne Freo on a Sunday afternoon,
Yeah,
probably not gonna
maybe
see it.
pass. But no, actually, I missed this question when we were speaking about Conor McGregor. But how many UFC fights have you been to? Is it 2 or 1? You definitely went to the McGregor one where he broke his leg,
Yeah.
which is fucking crazy in
Couldn't believe
itself.
it. I couldn't believe that.
Did you go to one recent when you were in LA last time?
Yeah, I went to
Whose was it? Because I saw you.
Usman Covington.
Oh wow, that was
Yeah.
a great fight too. Was that
That
number
whole
2?
card was-
Was that number 2? Was that their first fight?
That was the second.
Second fight,
Yeah,
yeah.
the most recent one.
Fuck, bro.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me, because I've never been to a UFC fight. I didn't even go to the one in Melbourne, which I really regret. But everyone that's gone there, and this is like neutral people that I don't know, and massive sports fans say UFC is the best event they can go to in sport.
Yeah, it's probably my favourite, definitely.
Why? Why is it so good?
'Cause people are trying to kill each other.
Besides the line.
No, it kind of sounds a bit sick in that sense, but it's so skillful, and I guess in 1 second it can be over. So you're kind of on the edge of your seat, just waiting for kind of that moment. And I think just the way they run the organisation, like you look at Dana White and like what he's done, like there's a lot of like when you just see everyone in one space and kind of how they put it all on together and the entertainment side of things as well.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Like it really is amazing. And because you're so close, like you're so close to the octagon, and you hear the like when someone punches.
Is it grueling to watch?
It's pretty. Yeah, there was a couple of gruesome moments where it's like, it's a
Stop
bit
the fight.
much. Yeah, but I mean, Americans love it. So
Yeah. Wow. Do you take anything away from Dana? Because like obviously he gets a lot of shit with the pay
yeah,
for fighters, but he's probably my favorite like sports persona in a press conference because he just doesn't.
Unfiltered?
Yeah, he just doesn't
Yeah.
budge from like questions, and he just answers it straight out, and he doesn't like he's so transparent.
yeah. He's great. I got to meet him as well when I was there.
Fuck off.
Swear, I was in a hotel. I was trying to find what did we do? I think we're having a few drinks, and it was my first week in like America, and then I was in Vegas, and I've only been to Vegas once when I was 21. Before that,
Yeah.
and then
Would have been a different trip this time.
different
21.
trip, yeah. It was good fun. And then and I was just walking around and I got lost in the hotel. Like the hotels over there are huge.
Yeah.
I couldn't find my room. So I was sitting down. I don't know. I got maps out. I don't know why I got maps out because I was in a hotel. And I'm sitting there and then I look up and it's Dana. And I just yelled out. Just said, hey, man, what's going on?
Fuck.
Just said I'm a big fan of like what you've done and what you've created. And he was super nice and got a photo. And
No wonder Electric Ladyland's a piece of piss. Fucking hell. He's rubbing shoulders at Dana and Conor.
Electric's great as well.
No, it is. Mate, it's look, I know we're probably up on time, but I did just want to talk one thing because I do want to thank you on your perspective, and this is probably why it's beneficial to have some friends that are knowledgeable in some other areas. But TikTok, dude, that is the best platform going around, and I was very ignorant to it because I associated it with like young kids, pretty boys,
Yeah.
like kind of like quirky dances and songs that I wasn't like into. But man, it is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's an amazing platform. It really is. I think the algorithm's a beast in itself. If you look at TikTok, the first page when you open the app is a For You page. So it's feeding you content that it believes you're going to be engaged with, and then it's probably the only platform where you really just swipe through and you're following people. You're looking at content that from maybe people you don't follow.
Yeah.
I know you can change that, but the basic setting I think is For You page. So to see that, and then you being able to post a clip of content and it to go viral overnight or get 1 million views. There's no
With
other
you can have no followers and a clip can get 50k views.
Yeah, it's insane.
You can't do that on Instagram.
That's I think what's so appealing to people to get on the app.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously you're on it. It's like so addictive.
Dude, I've got like I don't know how many followers we've got. We've got under 1,000, but I reckon I've got close to 500,000 views.
Yeah.
From like 20 videos.
Yeah, it's an amazing platform. I think
which is insane.
When they don't cap that, when they don't cap it with an algorithm and they really just let the app blossom with kind of whichever way it goes, then that's what you see. That's what you see. I think Instagram, there was some algorithm stuff and how they changed it from chronological to whatever the other setting was. It kind of changed how things worked, and people weren't getting as many likes or as many views.
Yeah.
Then you look at TikTok and you can get
a
million views overnight. It has to be appealing to people, especially the younger generation that want everything now.
Yeah, true. Well, I know you got a meeting, mate, so we better run. But I just want to thank you, Tommy Bugg, for coming on. The listeners, get following Tommy Bugg, mate. It's an MTV show. It's a life. It's awesome. He's developed it. He's worked hard for it. He's vulnerable with his learning. One of my good friends, mate. Well, I know we're going to have you on again, so it's not goodbye. But appreciate you coming in, brother.
Always a pleasure, mate. Can't wait.
Beautiful.